Hi, welcome to the Amber Show. It's almost the last days of 2015. 2015 was very hard for black youth and people, women, men, children who were killed by law enforcement. 1,000, you heard me, as of Sunday, the 1,000th person that was killed unjustifiably by a law enforcement officer was Sunday. 1,000 black people were murdered in one way or another by law enforcement. I am talking about our people. Black lives matter. Okay? I'm going to do some of the names just so that we will never forget. But of course, I couldn't do 1,000 names. You can go online and look them up by name. You'll get their names, what happened to them, how they were killed, whether they were armed, why it was unjustifiable, and what happened, their ages, everything. Okay, so let's go with, of course, we want to remember Eric Gardner. Eric Gardner was choked to death in New York City. We want to remember Freddie Gray. His spine was actually severed by police officers. We want to remember those that died 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015. Michael Brown. We don't want to ever forget in Ferguson, Missouri. We don't ever want to forget Tamir Rice, 12-year-old child who the police officers have now just not been indicted. The prosecutor in Ohio actually just told the grand jury he didn't believe that those officers were guilty, and the grand jury came up with no indictment. He just gave them the answer, a subliminal answer, right then and there. It wasn't even subliminal. He just told them. Trayvon Martin, we must never forget. This year, Sandra Bland, who we know did not commit suicide in her jail cell. Sean Bell, we never want to forget, who was shot 50 times sitting in his car unarmed on the night before he was to get married. Let's never forget Amadou Diallo, who was killed, shot 47 times while he was trying to pull out his wallet to give the police officer his ID. Patrick Dasman, let's never forget him, in New York. Tanisha Anderson, in police custody. She was restrained and died in the custody of the police, and that was ruled a homicide, and the police officers were not even charged. I'm going to name some of the women. Again, Tanisha Anderson, Yvette Smith, Shelley Ferry. She was caught stealing at Walmart and was killed. Denisha Harris, Melissa Williams, Alicia Thomas, Chantel Davis, Rekia Boyd, Sharice Francis, Tarika Wilson. Tarika Wilson was holding her baby when the police busted down her doors to try and arrest her boyfriend, who was a drug dealer, and they just began shooting because the officer claimed he thought he saw a shadow, and it was Tanika and her baby. Shot her in the head, killed her. Her 14-month-old baby, who she was holding, was shot in the arm and the hand, who did survive. These are just some of the women. Look up 15 black women killed during police encounters, and you'll see all of their ages, their names, and what happened to them. Look up the 2015 people who, in 2015, the people that were murdered by law enforcement and under Black Lives Matters. You will see it all. This is atrocious. This is what 2015 brought about. It showed that what happened to the police officers who are supposed to serve and protect. They are not serving and protecting us. This has got to change. We have got to do something about it. And it's real important that we, when you are arrested, even though these people were unarmed, many people were unarmed, many people held no threat, some people had mental health issues. They were not to be shot and killed like dogs in the street. They could have been restrained. You have more than one police officer come to a calling. They can taser you. There's so many other things that can be done to handle the situation, yet they are resorting to killing black people like they are dogs. Okay, on to 2015. ending 2015 right now, today. Bill Cosby has been indicted and has been charged with sexual assault. He's been released this afternoon on his own recognizance and will have to stand up to the charges that he is facing for drugging women and having sex with them that was not approved. So Bill Cosby, who we all thought was this great icon of a person, was actually a pervert who was going around. He had the power, he had the money. Not to mention, he is married, but of course, you know, he's a cheater, and not just a cheater, a serial cheater, a serial drugger. And what is it that you are doing that has to be so perverted that you have to drug a person in order to have sex with them, that you want them knocked out, the things that you must be doing to him? So now you see what comes to the dark, what you do in the dark comes to the light. And at his old age, he is going down in his old age, cradle to the grave, being a pervert. And it must be shameful and embarrassing, and I can't think of even the words for his wife, Camille, who, of course, I'm sure she knew about all of his philandering. She opted to stay there. I have no judgment on her. That is her problem, her man, her fault, her pervert. I feel sorry for his grown children, though. What else is going on is the climate change that we are experiencing during this time. It's very, 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 very bad. The polar bears are not even they don't have the ice that they need to stay up on the icebergs in order to survive. All around the world, we have hurricanes going on. We have tornadoes. Texas just had a huge flooding. Listen, if you're caught in a flood, if you're in any town and you see there's flooding and you're in a car, they are advising you, do not try and drive through it. Even if it looks like it's a low level or not deep, don't drive through it. More cars were swept away with people in them who did not realize just how deep the water was that they were trying to drive through. If you come upon it, back up or get out your car and run the opposite way. But don't go through any flood waters, please. We had Malaysia Airlines, of course, that went down this year. We had a great movie, Straight Outta Compton, which we all enjoyed, and we got to see exactly how Dr. Dre and Dr. Dre and Eazy-E and how they were able to come up and be who they are to this day. We also got to see drones are out now, which is very crazy. They're flying around. Drones can be good, drones can be bad. We got to see how that goes as it progresses, but Amazon actually does deliveries with drones. We had so many bombings during this time. Great things in 2015 that President Obama did. President Obama, if you look him up, look up the 50 things that this man has done since he's been president of the United States. One thing I hate seeing going out of 2015, that it's making it closer for our president to no longer be our president. He was the greatest president I've ever known in my lifetime, and I hate to see him go, but let's not forget the things that he did, and don't let anybody tell you any different. President Obama, he passed the health care, which is great health care. I have it. I love it. He passed the stimulus. He passed Wall Street reform. He ended the war in Iraq. He drew down the troops in Afghanistan. He killed Osama bin Laden. He turned the United States auto industry around in Detroit. He recapitalized banks. He repealed "Don't Ask, Don't Tell" in the army. He toppled Muammar Gaddafi. He revised the Bush torture policies. He improved Americans' image abroad. He kicked banks out of the federal student loan programs, and he expanded Pell Grants. He also passed credit card reform. He improved food and safety systems. His wife went into the schools to show the children how we have to get rid of the obesity, which turns into diabetes and all other problems. And Michelle Obama also taught us let's exercise and stay in shape. The president also improved food safety systems and taught us about MGOs. The president passed fair sentencing acts. He pardoned so many inmates that were on had been given life sentences for nonviolent federal drug offenses. He expanded the Wilderness Protection Program. He provided payment to wronged minority farmers. He helped South Sudan declare independence, and he expanded health coverage for children. Those are just some of the things that our president did for us. So we had some good things in 2015, but we had a lot of bad things when it came to the killings. As I said, as of today, the 1,000th person, as of Sunday rather, the 1,000th person was killed through law enforcement. And this has really got to stop. Black lives do matter. Black lives do matter does not mean that white lives do not matter. It means black lives matter. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about black lives matter, and they do. Well, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful day today. Reflect back on your year and try and make improvements for next year. And I'll be back to see you tomorrow. And Lunell, she's my friend. She's the comedian. I know you know who she is. She's on everything. One of the funniest black women in show business. She's my friend. And she said,